information security. What is basically information security? So before discussing about information security, we are going to discuss about what is the objective of the same that we are going to discuss. And that is, after the end of the lecture, you will be able to learn various security measures that we will use in protecting our data that is transmitted over network between sender and a receiver. So this could be a way to secure our data by some means. So basically, let's proceed with the lecture. First one is information security. What is basically information security? Let's discuss about the simple term. What is basically information security? So it is the name that is given to the preventive steps that we take to guard our information and capabilities. Like as the name implies, information security. So what does it mean? It means to secure information by some means. So what are those means? They could be some techniques, they could be some measures that could be taken, or they could be some algorithm, or I can say security algorithms that could be taken into account in order to secure our information. So it is the name that is given to the preventive steps that we are supposed to take when we are supposed to guard our information, or we are supposed to provide security to our information and our capabilities. In addition, there could be some measures that could be adopted to prevent the unauthorized use, so that nobody else who is involved in the conversation, like third party, could not use the information, could not misuse it, could not modify it, or they could not be doing anything to the information that is being sent over the network. So there are certain types of measures that could be adopted in order to prevent the same. So there are certain characteristics of the information, or I can say critical characteristics of the information. So what are basically those? It could be availability. Second is accuracy. Third is authenticity. Fourth is confidentiality. And fifth is integrity. We will discuss each and every characteristics one by one. Let's give you an overview about the same. Availability means to say the information is available. Next, accurate mean to say up-to-date information is available. Authentic mean to say authentic users can have a control over the same. Confidentiality, as the name implies, is concerned with the privacy. Integrity mean to say there could not be any modifications that are taking place in between. So these are the 5 types of characteristics that are concerned with the information. So let's discuss one by one. The first one is availability. So what is basically availability? Availability means to say that it could enable the user who needs to access information to do so without interference and receive it in the required format, so that there could not be any modification in between. Next is the information is available only to the authorized users. Information is only available to the users, or I can say authorized users. So if you are having any confusion about this point, you can ask me what is basically availability, or what is there in the availability. Next is accuracy. Now, accuracy, as the name implies, information is accurate when it is free from mistakes or errors, and it has the value that the end user expects. Next is authenticity. Now, authenticity is concerned with the information quality, or the state of being genuine, original, rather than a reproduction or a fabrication. You can take an example of email spoofing. That is the unauthorized use of the third-party domain name as the sender's name in an email message. You can have a look at the link that is given here, so that you can identify the same. So next is confidentiality. As the name implies, confidentiality, what does it mean basically? Confidentiality mean to say the information is available only to people with rightful access, and we can ensure that only to those with the rights and privileges to access a particular set of information, and they are able to do so. And it is closely related with the privacy of the information. So what does confidentiality basically means? It means we are supposed to deal with the information that requires highly secure information, or I can say highly like high security is required for that private information that is shared over a network. So this is the concern here basically. Next is we are supposed to deal with integrity. Now what is basically integrity? Have a look at it. Like information can only be changed by authorized personnel. In addition, the quality or the state of being whole, complete, and uncorrupted is the integrity of the information. And there are three goals that are associated with the integrity. Those are like prevention of modification by unauthorized users, so that nobody can modify the information that is being sent between the sender and the receiver. Next is prevention of unauthorized modification by authorized users as well, because there could be certain rights to that could be given to the authorized users. Like we are using Gmail, and in Gmail we are supposed to deal with Google Drive, and in Google Drive, if we are supposed to create any link or create any folder on Google Drive, and we are supposed to give privileges, and in that privileges there are certain rights that are to be given, like if the user can view it, if the user can modify it, if the user can edit it. So these are certain types of rights that could be given to the authorized users as well, so that they can only view the information, they can't modify it, or some users could be given editor rights as well, so that they can modify the information as well. So next is preservation of the internal and external consistency, like if the information is consistent before the retrieval, then it could be consistent after it is received, like there could not be any consistency violations that could occur in between. Next is integrity check can be done through, it could be done through two main points, like file size and file hashing. So file size, if I am talking about file size, what is file size? Like if I am supposed to send a file of 100 MB, then it could be received by the receiver, that is 100 MB. It could not be the case that I am sending the file of 100 MB and receiver is receiving a file of 50 MB only. It means there is some problem with the integrity. In addition, if I am using file hashing is concerned with to arrange the file by using some kind of hashing techniques. It could be based on some, like if I am adding some kind of authentication header, or it could be the case that I am using certain hashing techniques in the form of index. Then it could not be tampered while it is transmitted over the network. Next is hashing. What is basically hashing? It is the transformation of a string of characters into a usually shorter fixed length values or the keys that represents the original key, as I told you. So next is what are the components of an information system? If I am supposed to deal with the components of an information system, what are those? What are the components of an information system? So before basically discussing about the components of the information system, let's discuss about information security in detail first. Like information security, as the name implies, it refers to the processes, it refers to the methodologies which are designed and implemented. What are methods, what are processes? We have already discussed, like accuracy, availability, integrity. But they are designed and implemented to protect print, electronic, or any other form of confidential, private, and sensitive information or data, but from unauthorized access, use, misuse, or disclosure, destruction, modification, or disruption. So there are certain kinds of things that are available with the same, or that are, I think, associated with the same. So what are basically those? We are supposed to have a look at the same. We are supposed to have a look at the same. like what are those and why we are supposed to deal with the same. So same is the case here if I am talking about confidentiality, integrity and availability. Like what is information security policy behind the same, what is information security basics, like CIA model. As I discussed in various lectures, CIA, that is confidentiality, integrity, availability model, because this is the main model when we are dealing with the information security. So what is basically information security policy? Like organizations develop and implement information security policy. Why? That is to impose a uniform set of rules, but for what? That is to handle and protecting essential data. So there could be a policy that could be used or that should apply to the entire IT structure and all the users that are there in the network. So it determines who has access to various types of data and how identity is authenticated and what methods could be used to secure information at all times. In addition, a good information security policy should also lay out the ethical and legal responsibilities of the company and its employees when it comes to safeguarding the customer data. So, like most information security policies, focus on protecting three key aspects of their data and information. Like I told you about the three: confidentiality, integrity, and availability. Each objective addresses a different aspect of providing protection for information. So, if we are taking them together, then they are often referred to as the CIA model of the information security. And the CIA model holds unifying attributes of an information security program that can change the meaning of the next level security. So we are supposed to deal with information security basics like the CIA model: confidentiality, integrity, and availability. It is known as CIA triad. So it is sometimes referred to as AIC triad because we can change it according to our requirement, like availability, integrity, and confidentiality, to avoid confusion with the Central Intelligence Agency, which is known as CIA. So, confidentiality, if we are talking about confidentiality, what is confidentiality in real sense? So, when we are talking about the confidentiality of the information, then we are talking about protecting the information from being exposed to an unauthorized party. But why? Due to a data breach, or inside threat. So, according to the federal code, preserving restrictions on access to your data is important as it secures your proprietary information and maintains your privacy. And in that manner, nobody wants to deal with the fallout of a data breach. So that is why you should take major steps to implement document security, establish security control for various sensitive files, and establish clear information security policies regarding devices. So confidentiality covers a spectrum of access control and measures that protect your information from getting misused by any unauthorized access. The ideal way to keep your data confidential and private, prevent a data breach, is to implement safeguards. So next is, every piece of information a company holds has value, especially in today's world. So whether it is financial data, credit card numbers, trade secrets, or legal documents, everything requires proper confidentiality, or I can say in other words, only the people who are authorized to do so should be able to gain access to sensitive data. So a failure to maintain confidentiality means that someone who should not have access has managed to get access to private information through internet intentional behavior or by accident. A failure in confidentiality can cause some serious devastation. So some information security basics to keep your data confidential are encryption, password, two-factor authentication, and biometric verification. So these are certain types of things that we are supposed to consider when we are dealing with confidentiality. If we are talking about encryption mean to say we are supposed to encrypt our information. We are supposed to encrypt our information. Next is password, by choosing the strong password. Two-factor authentication, like public key could be used. In addition, we are supposed to use private key. Next, biometric verification could be there. Next is integrity. If we are talking about integrity, now like in the world of information security, like integrity. So integrity means to say like accuracy and completeness of the data, because security control focused on integrity are designed to prevent data from being modified or misused by an unauthorized party. So integrity involves maintaining the consistency and trustworthiness of data over its entire life cycle. So data must not be changed in transit, and precautionary steps must be taken to ensure that data cannot be altered by unauthorized people. So for example, in data breach that compromises integrity, a hacker may seize data and modify it before sending it on the intended recipient. So there are some security controls that are designed to maintain the integrity of the information. That could include encryption, user access controls, version control, backup and recovery procedures, error detection, and software. So what is basically user access control? What is basically user access control? We are supposed to uh, discuss them one by one, like what are various user access control. So user access control, as the name implies, access control, controlling mechanism is used, or it is a security technique that regulates who or what can view or use resources in the computing environment. So it could be a fundamental concept in the security that minimizes the risk to the business or an organization. So there could be two types of access control, that is physical and logical. If I am talking about physical access control, it could limit access to campuses, buildings, rooms, and physical IT assets. Next is logical access control. It could limit connections to computer network, system files, and data. So to secure a facility, organizations use electronic access control systems that rely on user credentials, access card readers, auditing and reports to track employee access to restricted business locations and proprietary areas like data centers, and some of these systems incorporate access control panels to restrict entry to rooms and buildings, as well as alarms and lockdown capabilities, so to prevent unauthorized access or operations. In addition, access control systems perform identification. Access control systems perform identification, authentication, authorization of users and entities by evaluating required login credentials that can include passwords, personal identification numbers like PINs, biometric scans, security tokens, or other authentication factors. So multi-factor authentication, that is MFA, it requires two or more authentication factors. That is often an important part of the layered defense to protect access control system. So this is all about access control. This is logical and physical. Now the question is, why is access control important? So if you are having any question till now, you can ask me. Just go through the slides, because I am giving you a time of 1 minute. Have a look at all the slides that have been discussed. So my next question is, why is access control important? So the goal of access control is to minimize the security risk of unauthorized access to physical and logical systems. So access control is a fundamental component of the security compliance programs that ensure security technology and access control policies that are in place to protect confidential information. It could be a customer data. Most organizations have infrastructure and procedures that limit access to the networks, computer systems, and applications, files, and sensitive data, such as personally identifiable information, that is PII, and intellectual property. So access control systems are complex and it can be challenging to manage in dynamic IT environments that involve on-premises systems and cloud services. So after some high-profile breaches, technology vendors they could have shifted away from single sign-on, that is SSO, systems to unified access management. So it could offer access control for on-premises and cloud environments. Now the question is how access control works basically, because we are dealing with information security here and we are supposed to deal with access control. So why how access control work, that is the main question. So these security controls work by identifying an individual or entity. It could verify that the person or the application is who or what it claims to be, and authorizing the access level and set of actions that are associated with username or internet protocol address, and directory services and protocols that include lightweight directory access protocol and security assertions markup language, that is SAML, because it could provide access control for authenticating and authorizing users and entities, and it could enable them to connect to computer resources. It could be like distributed applications and web servers. So next is organizations use different access control models depending on their compliance requirements and the security levels of information technology they are trying to protect. Next is various types of access controls are there. We are supposed to discuss one by one. So the main models of access controls could be like first is MAC. MAC mean to say mandatory access control. Mandatory access control. So what is basically mandatory access control? There is a security model in which access rights are regulated by central authority that could be based on multiple levels of security, so often used in government and military environments. Classifications are assigned to them or system resources and operating systems or security kernel. So it grants or denies access to those resource objects based on the information security clearance of the user or device. For example, security enhanced Linux is an implementation of MAC on the Linux operating system. Next is discretionary access control, that is DAC. Discretionary access control. So what is basically discretionary access control? So it could be an access control method in which owners or administrators of the protected system or data or resources that set the policies. It could define who or what is authorized to access the resource. Many of these systems enable administrators to limit the propagation of access rights. A common criticism of DAC system is the lack of centralized control. Next is role-based access control, that is RBAC. What is basically role-based access control? This is the widely used access control mechanism that restricts access to computer resource based on individuals or groups with defined business functions, for example, executive level or engineer level 1 or etc., rather than the identities of the individual users. The role-based security models relies on a complex structure of the role assignments, role authorizations, and role permissions that are developed using role engineering to regulate employee access to systems. In addition, RBAC system can be used to enforce MAC and DAC framework. Next is we are talking about rule-based access control. So what is basically rule-based access control? So this is the security model in which the system administrator defines the rule that governs access to resource objects. Often these rules are based on conditions like time of day or location, So it is not uncommon to use some form of both rule-based access control and RBAC to enforce access policies and procedures. Next is attribute-based access control. So this is the methodology that manages access rights by evaluating a set of rules, policies, relationships using the attributes of user, systems, and environmental condition. In addition, if we are supposed to implement access control, so what could be the platform for the same, or what could be the implementation details behind the same? So access control is the process that is integrated into an organization IT environment. It can involve identity management, access management systems. These systems provide access control software, a user database, management tools for access control policies, auditing and enforcement. So when a user is added to an access management system administrator use an automated provisioning system to set up permissions based on access control framework, job responsibilities, and workflows. So the best practice of least privilege restrict access to only resources that employees require to perform their immediate job functions. So next is various challenges of access control. So we are supposed to discuss the same. Various challenges of access control. So what are basically various challenges of access control? So many of the challenges of access control stem for the highly distributed nature of the modern IT. So it is difficult to keep track of constantly evolving assets as they spread out both physically and logically. So some specific examples include various things like if we are supposed to dynamically manage distributed IT environment. So we are supposed to manage the IT environments dynamically. In addition, password fatigue. Password fatigue could be used. In addition, compliance visibility through consistent reporting. Next could be centralizing user directories and avoiding application-specific silos, and data governance and visibility through consistent reporting. So if we are dealing with modern access control strategies that are supposed to be dynamic, why? Because traditional access control strategies are more static because most of the company's computing assets were held on premises, and modern environment consists of many cloud-based and hybrid implementations which spreads assets out over physical location and over a variety of unique devices. So a singular security fence that protects on premises assets is becoming less useful because assets are becoming more distributed. So to ensure data security, organizations must verify individual identities. Why? Because the assets they use are more transient and distributed. So the asset itself says less about the individual user than it is used. And in addition, of organization often struggle with authorization over authentication. And authentication is the process of verifying an individual who they say they are through the use of biometric identification and MFA. So the distributed nature of assets give organizations many avenues for authenticating an individual. Next is the process that companies struggle with more is authorization, which is the act of giving individuals the correct data access based on their authenticated identity. So one example of where the might fall short is if an individual leaves a job but still has access to that company assets. So this can create security holes because the asset the individual uses for the work, a smartphone with company software on it. For example, is still connected to the company internal infrastructure, but it is no longer being monitored because the individual is no longer with the company. So let uncheck. This can cause problems for an organization. If the ex-employee device were to be hacked, then the hacker could gain access to sensitive company data that is known to the company because the device is no longer visible to the company in many ways. but still connected to company infrastructure. So the hacker may be able to change passwords, view sensitive information, or even sell employee credentials or consumer data on the dark web for the other hackers to use. So one solution to this problem is strict monitoring and reporting on who has access to protected resources so that when a change occurs, it can be immediately identified and access control list ACL and permissions can be updated to reflect the change. So next is another often overlooked challenge for access control is the user experience. That is the design of the access control technologies. So what could be that? If a particular access management technology is difficult to use, then an employee may use it incorrectly or may damage it entirely or circumvent it entirely, which creates security holes and compliance gap. So if our reporting or monitoring application is difficult to use, then the reports themselves may be compromised due to an employee mistake, which when would result in the security gap because an important permission change or security vulnerability went unreported. Next is access control software. So there are many types of access control software and technologies that are available, and often multiple components are used together to maintain access control. So the software tools may be on premises, in the cloud, or a hybrid of both. So they may focus primarily on the company's internal access management or may focus outwardly on access management for customers. Some of the types of access management some of the types of access management software tools include the following, like reporting and monitoring applications, password management tools, provisioning tools, identity repositories, security policy enforcement tools. So Microsoft Active Directory is the one of the example of the software that include most of the tools listed above in the single offering. And other vendors with popular products for identity and access management, that is IAM, IE Adaptive and Okta. So this could be used for the same. So this is all about user access control. If you are having any question regarding same, you can ask me. Next is availability. So we are supposed to deal with data availability. Data availability means that the information is accessible to authorized users. Means the information is accessible to authorized users. It provides an assurance that your system and data can be accessed by your system and information is accessed by authenticated users whenever they are needed. So similar to confidentiality and integrity, availability also holds great value. So availability is typically associated with reliability and system uptime, which can be impacted by non-malicious issues like hardware failures, unscheduled software downtime, human error, or malicious issues like cyber attacks and insider threats. If the network goes down unexpectedly, then users will not be able to access essential data and applications. So information security policies and security control addresses availability concerns by putting various backups and redundancies in place to ensure continuous uptime and business continuity. Your information is more vulnerable to data availability threats than the other two components in the CIA model, making regular offsites making regular offsites backups can limit the damage caused to hard drives by natural disasters or server failure. So information only has the value if the right people can access it at the right time. So information security measures for mitigating threats to availability, data availability include off-site backups, disaster recovery, redundancy, failover, proper monitoring, environmental control, virtualization, server clustering, continuity of operation, planning. So this is all about availability. In addition, if we are talking about information security basics, then we are supposed to deal with biometric technology. Now, multi-factor biometric authentication, it is one of the most effective forms of logical security that is available to organizations. So by requiring users to verify their identity with biometric credentials like fingerprint or facial recognition scans, you can ensure that the people accessing and handling data and documents are who they claim to be. So biometric technology is particularly effective when it comes to document security and e-signature verification. So continuous authentication scanning can also mitigate the risk of screen snoopers and visual hacking, which goes a long way toward protecting and confidentiality requirements of any CIA model. So smart eye technology, we have made biometrics the cornerstone of our security controls. With our revolutionary technology, you can enhance your document security, easily authenticate e-signatures and cover multiple information security basics in a single easy to use solution. So to get a hands-on look at the what biometric authentication can do for your security controls, you can download the Smart Eye mobile app today or contact our information security experts to schedule a demo. So next is we are supposed to deal with the components of an information system. So what are basically components of an information system? It could be software, hardware, data, people, and procedures. So what is basically software? So we are supposed to deal with the same. Comprises of operating system, applications, committed utilities. It could be related to bugs, weaknesses, and holes. So an error or a defect in the software or hardware that causes the program to malfunction. Security hole could be there, warning could be there, or security note could be there. But security is least priority in software development. Hardware. Next, hardware execute houses and executes a software. It could stores and carries the data. It could provide interfaces for entry and removal of information from the system. Physical security policy that deals with the hardware. Data, that is the main object of intentional attack that we all are dealing with. People, that is the main threat to information security, and it is generally overlooked. Now there are various procedures that we are supposed to follow. Procedures are written instructions for accomplishing a specific task. It is another frequently overlooked component. So what is basically network security? It is an effort to create a secure computing platform so that users or programs cannot perform actions that they are not allowed to do so. In addition, network security is the protection of networking components, connections, and contents. So what are basically 4 steps that are dealing with network security? These are the secure, monitor, test, improve. Why we are using secure term here? That is to implement the security solutions to prevent unauthorized access to the protect the information, that is authentication, encryption, firewall, vulnerability, patching. Next is monitor security. That is concerned with detection of the violation to the security policy. It could involve system auditing and real-time intrusion detection, and it could validate the security implementations that are discussed in the step number 1. Next is we are supposed to deal with the testing technique. It could validate the effectiveness of the security policy through system auditing and network scanning. Next is we are supposed to deal with the improved security. So use information from the monitor and test phases to make improvements to the security implementation. And we are supposed to adjust the security policy as security holes and risks are identified. So there are certain terms that are related to security. First could be assets, threats, attack, vulnerability, risk analysis, measures that could be taken. Next is hacking. What is asset? It is the organization resource that is being protected. It can be logical like website information, data. It can be physical like computer system or other intangible object. Next is threats, vulnerability, and controls. Threats and vulnerability, that is a risk, a person, thing, or event or idea which poses some danger to an asset. It could be possibly means by which a security policy may be breached. Next is an attack. It is the realization of a threat. Next is vulnerability. That is a weakness in the system that can be exploited to cause loss or harm. Next is risk is equal to threat plus vulnerability. So what is that? Threats without vulnerabilities pose no risk and vice versa. So risk is the probability that something can happen, and risk analysis can be quantitative or qualitative. So risk can be qualitatively defined in three levels: low, medium, and high. So low is concerned with action to remove the vulnerability that should be taken if possible. Medium action to remove the vulnerability is advisable. High action should be taken immediately to remove this vulnerability. So next is hacking. Hacking can be defined positively or negatively. To write computer programs for enjoyment or to gain access to a computer illegally. Now what we have discussed, you can have a look at the same. This is the summary about today's lecture. What is information security, what is access control, what is network security, what are various assets, threats, and countermeasures that we are supposed to take when we are dealing with information security. So if you are having any query regarding same, you can ask me. You can go through all the slides that have been discussed so far. So there is a reference book that is given by Atul Kahate and William Stalling. It is available in the college library, and you can get it issued from the library and have a look at the same. In addition, there are 10 MCQs that are given against today's lecture. So each question is having 4 choices, and you are supposed to pick any one answer. And at the end of the class, you are supposed to submit me the answers. So these are 10 questions. Have a look at the same. So this was all about today's class. If you are having any queries, you can ask me any question. So this is all about my today's class. Thank you. Have a nice day.